Hi y'all, it's Camille from the Layland Museum, and we're bringing y'all another artifact spotlight. So I hope y'all caught the one that we just did over on the Railroad Museum page. We actually went over to the caboose and we went inside of it and filmed in there. So if y'all haven't already watched that video, make sure you go to the Railroad Museum page because it's a pretty interesting artifact spotlight. But we came back over here to the Layland to do one over here too, and today we're focusing on one of the most historic artifacts that we have here at the Layland Museum, and that is the Marchbanks uniform that I have right here next to me. This is one of the oldest intact Confederate uniforms still in existence, and it was made in 1860. So it's over 100 years old. And this was made entirely from scratch by Mary Emmeline Marchbanks. And her husband, Burton Marchbanks, was in Company E of the 30th Texas Cavalry and in the Civil War. And she would have had to make this uniform entirely from scratch, like I said. So she would have picked the cotton, she would have spun it, she would have dyed it, and then woven it all together and sewn it into this uniform. So it was really a whole lot of work got put into this, and it's really cool that we managed to keep it preserved for so long since it is so old. And fabrics don't tend to do very well over time. They tend to break down. So we've tried to protect this as best we can. We obviously have this big, nice case around it, and we also keep the light in here kind of low because light can actually damage fabrics and the pigments and the materials that it's made from. So we're trying to take really good care of it. But the Marchbanks family actually took care of this uniform for about 100 years before they generously donated it to us here at the museum, and we are very grateful to have it. Now, there's one detail that I wanted to point out to y'all that's pretty interesting. One of the things that makes this uniform kind of customized to the person that wore it is the fact that his initial is actually embroidered on a lot of different parts of the clothing. So you're going to notice on his socks, there's an M for Marchbanks. On his shirt, there's one too. And there's actually one on the hem of his pants as well. This is also a little bit more relatable for us because I'm sure you probably have some articles of clothing that you've put your name in too, especially things like jackets and coats and things like that that you might be liable to leave somewhere. So that's, like I said, one of the most historic things that we have here in our museum, and I wanted to show it to y'all. Oh, I guess I didn't mention, Burton Marchbanks actually did live here in Cleburne. He was a farmer, and after the Civil War, he was able to come home, but he did unfortunately die of his wounds. But we still have this as kind of a legacy from him, which is pretty interesting. But thank y'all so much once again for joining us today. We are going to have another artifact spotlight tomorrow at 3 p.m. And also don't forget about our snapshots of history, where we post historic photos every day at 11 a.m. So thank y'all so much, and I hope y'all have a great rest of your day.